Hey everybody, it's Missy again. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm back with another layout for the Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2018 February kits this time. And this is my first layout using these brand new beautiful kits. And I've already done a little bit of work here. This is one of this month's subscriber cut files. It's in a group of different ones that Kim Watson designed, and it is so cute. And I went ahead and did some cutting on my silhouette. And I used one of the crepe paper papers, and then I cut this again on white cardstock because I had the idea of maybe trying to make a little shadow and layer one on top of the other. And I liked the way it looked both ways. I liked the cardstock on top, and I also liked the pattern paper on top. And I love that crepe paper pattern paper with the watercolor stripes on it. And I was trying to get the pink and that orangey color together on this cut file. And then I kind of had the idea that I wanted to kind of maybe add some rainbow colors into this, since I've got the pink and the orange, and maybe add some yellow and some blue, some darker pink, and just sort of create a little rainbow of hearts here. And I didn't want to back the hearts. I want to trace them and cut them and sort of offset them and kind of put them back in their place, but kind of crooked, so you can kind of see whatever's going to be behind there. So it's kind of like the outline of the heart, but then the inside of the heart, but not completely backed, if that makes any sense. You'll see what I'm talking about here. So I went through several of the papers and some of the Project Life cards, and I'm just going to trace each heart with a different color. And I've got yellow from that Project Life card. I've got green from the same paper that I used to create the cut file. And these kits are so pretty. There's a lot of light pink and mint color, but there's also some bright colors. And so if you look through every paper, you'll find a bright yellow, but you'll also find some of that golden yellow. So there's a couple different shades of yellow. That is a light blue piece that I cut from one of the Paige Evans Pick Me Up papers, which is this one right here. And I'm also going to get some dark pink in there. So this is kind of what I was talking about. I've got a different heart of each color, kind of like a little rainbow of hearts. And I go back and forth about how to stack the cut files. Do I want the pattern paper on top, or do I want the cardstock on top? And I like the way it looks both ways, but I'm going to go with the pattern paper on top because it's just too pretty not to. And I'm going to use this as my background. It looks very white, but it has got some pattern on it. It's one of the Pink Fresh Studio papers from the Let Your Heart Decide collection, and there is a ton of that collection throughout all of the kits this month, and it is so pretty. Now I'm going to jazz up my background here. I added some white gesso just to kind of give me a little bit thicker of a space to work with here. It's going to thicken up the paper and protect it, and it's going to allow me to do all this smudging like you see here. And the gesso is going to sort of make the paper a little bit, the texture is going to change, and it's going to allow this blending tool to really smudge and blend a lot smoother. So the color of the ink on the bottom, that lighter mint green color, is in the color kit this month, and it's called Cracked Pistachio. And I'm going to mix and match that with the darker aqua at the top. That is the Peacock Feathers, and we got that in the November color kits. So yeah, you could still do this without gesso. I just find that the gesso makes the surface a lot easier for blending and smudging. Now these distress inks, look what happens when you splatter water over them and blot it up. It sort of picks up the ink. It just looks like you kind of bleached it. I think that is the coolest technique ever. So neat. It's just like magic. These distress oxides are so cool. So I highly suggest you give them a try. And we've gotten 5 colors now in the past several months in the color kits. And so I love to use those, so I keep them out on my desk. So at this point, I'm still kind of trying to decide how I want to use the cut files, and I'm going to scrap a picture of me and my husband. I think I scrapped me and my husband last week. That's 2 in a row. This is one of the Project Life cards, and I love this little cluster of flowers. I think it's the perfect little grouping of rainbow colors, and so I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to use that here in just a minute. But I want to continue working on my background. You know, it takes me forever to get my background just like I like it. So I'm going back to those distress oxides, and this time I'm going to water them down and treat it like watercolor and just splatter it with my brush. It works great This way it works great with a packaging technique. It works great dry like I did before when I just smudged it, and you can see how totally different it looks just depending on how you use it. So these Distress Oxides are very versatile. That's a pink shimmers. It's called Sweetheart, and we got that several months ago in a color kit, and I just wanted some hints of pink on the background, as well as some gold. Heidi Swap Gold Color Shine. I think we got that, oh my goodness, a couple of Decembers ago, but it has been in a color kit and I'm still using it. One of my favorites. And this is going to look really pretty, I think, once it's all done. I want this to be a soft layout, even though there's some black that I'm going to add to it, mainly because my shirt in the picture is black, and so I'm going to add in some splatters and a couple of smaller black elements. I'm going to go ahead and glue the layers together, and I decided to use the pattern paper on top, and you can see how cool the white cardstock looks under it. Now that I've got the background done, you can really see it pop, and it just gives this really cool shadow effect. So that's something that you could do if you have a die cutting machine. You could cut things twice and offset it to create a fun shadow. So here's where I decided to add some black, and at first I thought, oh, do I want to do this because everything's so light and bright? Do I want to add black? And I'm so glad I did, because I think it looks really cool once it's all done here. I'm going to dab a little bit of it up, and it is going to get a little bit lighter once I dab it up, and then take my paper towels and just roll it over. And then see, I've got black in my shirt, and I'm going to use another Project Life card as a layer behind there to kind of add another little line of black. And I'm going to tuck the photo right where you see it. It's going to go right there. I'm going to let the hearts sort of overlap it, because this photo was taken on my husband's birthday last year, and we were at a nice restaurant, and they had a bunch of windows sort of in another room, and it was kind of, you know, not getting dark, but the sun was going down, it was shining in behind us, and so it was hard to find a good spot for a selfie, and so the sun is kind of really making the picture light and bright, but I still like how it looks, and so I'm going to use it. Now, I was showing you there that I did some stitching right across the Love You, and then I stitched on a couple of the hearts individually, and then added some tissue paper behind my photo, and then I added the circle that I cut out from the Project Life card around the edge there. And now I'm going to add some rub-ons, and these are from the Paige Evans Pick Me Up collection, and they rub on perfectly. They are awesome. Make sure you don't stick it to anything except what you want it to stick to, because they are so ready to rub on that they will stick to stuff. I learned that the hard way with one of the florals here. I wound up cutting it out because it took me forever to get this page done, and I had a lot of stuff that if I kept it all in, it would be like a 45-minute video, and who wants to watch me for 45 minutes? Not me. So I cut it out, but I accidentally touched one of the rub-ons to my picture, and barely touched it, and it stuck to it. So be very careful with the rub-ons, and only stick it exactly where you want it, because they're ready to go on. Now I'm going to add some thread here behind some of these hearts, as well as some little pieces of adhesive foam to create some dimension. And these are the only things that I'm going to pop off the page on this layout. Usually, most of the time, I add it to my photo, but since I'm going to be tucking the picture underneath the hearts, my picture is actually going to go flat this time, and the hearts are going to be popped up. And this is just cheap adhesive foam that I get from Walmart in the craft section. I believe it's in the craft section. You get like 40 sheets for $5, and it's adhesive on one side. It's perfect. You can cut it to whatever size you want, and it's the perfect height for things like this on a scrapbook page. And it's cheap. You can get a lot of it for not expensive. So I've got, several colors of my thread there. I've got a light blue, an aqua, a lighter pink, a darker pink. And I'm just adding in some little thread nests there just to add some extra texture, some extra color. And then I'm going to go back to embellishing. I'm going to use one of these little stickers, but I'm going to unstick it first, because I wanted to kind of layer it on the picture underneath that little flower cluster, and I knew that if I attempted to get that under there, it was going to stick immediately, and I never stick anything down straight the first time. So I'm going to take the sticky out of the picture there, and now I can move it around. because I wanted to make sure it was straight there. And I felt like it was okay to stick that on top of the picture because there's just some open space to the right of his head. And then I'm going to go in with another little label sticker, and then some of these chipboard stickers. These are from Paige Evans Pick Me Up, and I'm going to use a bigger blue heart over to the left of my shoulder, and then 5 of these cute little tiny hearts. 5 or 4, maybe it's just 4. And I tried to add some more florals underneath this corner there, but I felt like it just sort of didn't need to be there, so I decided against that. I'm going to go back to the Pink Fresh Studio. These are the leatherette stickers, and that one at the top I'm going to use. It says "In This Moment." And I love how this is looking. I love starting a layout with a big cut file like this, especially with a big title, because number 1, your title is already done. And number 2, since the cut file pretty much spans across the entire page, it automatically gives you a place to put your picture, you know, and you could also raise this cut file up higher and put your picture underneath it. You could do 2 photos kind of side by side underneath it, kind of create a line of photos. So, but it kind of helps you plan your layout. I added a punched not a heart, I was going to say a heart, a punched flower there because I wanted another pop of yellow in that corner. And so I pulled out my very hard to punch flower punch and added that. So now I've got that bright yellow in a couple of spots. And then to add some pink in that area, I'm going to rub on some more little tiny pink flowers. So now in that area, I've got pink, yellow, and blue. And then I really wanted to use these little X's. So it looks kind of like stitching. So I'm going to cut this and do a little bit at the top just for some detail. It's just something cute and fun and just something small, which I like. And then add a little bit more right here underneath that heart. And then some more, the last 2 that I had left over on top of that chipboard heart. This is another little leatherette Pink Fresh Studio piece that says "Today," and I'm going to add that right there underneath the love circle. And then I'm going to finish off my title. I'm going to add to it using the Pink Fresh Studio Puffy Alphas, and thank goodness all the letters that I wanted to use were in the right color. And so my title is going to be "Love You and Us." And I wanted that to be kind of subtle and blend in with the background color, and so that's why I chose that light aqua color, and I also stitched through that too. And I felt like I wanted to do something at the top, and so I'm going to kind of cut this at a crooked angle and ruffle it up a little bit and create a little something something up at the top. And it's going to be pretty subtle here. I'm going to use this Pink Fresh paper and just stick this to the top. It's going to be just a subtle layer. I almost went with the black and white crepe paper sheet there, but again, I wanted to kind of keep it light. So I'm going to add that at the top, and it's just going to be something subtle at the top, just so it's not solid white. I cut that Everyday Magic from one of the Project Life cards, and I like the pop of black that that gives at the top. And what I'm going to try to do is bring in all of those colors and create a little cluster here. So I'm going to add that little strip from the 4x6 Project Life card for some yellow. I'm going to tuck in that little tab that says Story. And I thought about adding some pink thread, but I'm going to pull that off here and not use it. I just decided I had enough thread on there and I didn't want it to get too crazy and messy up there. I am going to add one of the wood veneer buttons from Pink Fresh Studio. I'm going to trim this up so it's not so big. I just wanted a little hint of yellow that matched the yellow heart and the yellow flowers. And I love how that Everyday Magic piece is, it's already cut off. That's how it is on that Project Life card, and it just kind of looks like it got cut off when the paper tore. And to add in this darker turquoise color, well, I guess it's not too dark. It's more of the light blue color. I'm going to add in this rub on. It says "You Go Girl," and I'm going to cover up the words, and all you're going to see is the messy blue strokes peeking out from underneath that circle. And I just mainly did that for that pop of that color. And then I went ahead and stitched through that area with gold. And then for the darker pink, I'm going to add this wood veneer button. And finally, the darker turquoise color is going to be from this little heart. And that's how easy it is to create a little cluster. Just try to get a tiny something something of each of your colors, and then it's going to look cute no matter what you do, I think. I'm going to finish up the bottom here. I did cut out me writing my journaling because this layout was, or this video was getting very long. So I wrote my journaling. I'm going to add a couple more little bits and bobs down at the bottom and add the date. And that's the final layout. I love how this turned out. I think it's really cute and colorful and bright. And I love all the embellishments. These kits are so full this month. I mean, it was really challenging to go through and decide what to use because everything matches so well, and there's so many cut files this month. I was like, oh my gosh, which one am I going to start with? So I finally just picked one, and like I said, it kind of helped me go with the entire layout, and it came together really, really nicely. Even though it took me the course of 2 days to get it all finished, I love how it turned out, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So let me know if you have any questions about anything at all, the techniques, the products, anything. So thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a great week. See you next time.